Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unmanned. Unmanned industry curious about effects of ATC reform. NASA updates UTM effort. And the Drone Racing League and Betfair partner up. Hi, I'm Bree Cross. Welcome to the Aero-News Network's Airborne-Unmanned program, a weekly news program covering all things unmanned in partnership with AUVSI. An administration proposal released last week by President Trump as part of an infrastructure initiative seeks to separate the ATC system from the FAA and place it under control of a private corporation administered by an administrative board that appears to offer significant power to the airlines and unions that make up the rank and file of the ATC personnel system. Much of the airline industry seems to be quite supportive of this effort, while it is largely opposed by much of the non-airline aviation and aerospace community. Based on proposals initially made by Representative Bill Shuster, which failed to gain traction in previous years, the plan promises access to all members of the aviation community, including unmanned vehicles, but holds out the potential need for user fees to gain access to the National Airspace System. With recent turmoil created by the Taylor case in regards to the licensing of unmanned air vehicle operations, as well as the potential need to deal with fees and additional rules and restrictions promulgated by the privatization of the ATC system, the next several decision-making months are likely to be important to the future of the unmanned technology industry. We'll keep you informed. In the next Unmanned Minute, let's take a brief look at a few of the shorter stories that are making the rounds of the unmanned vehicle communities. The Unmanned Systems Division of Kratos Defense and Security Solutions recently received an order from a U.S. government customer for 6 high-performance unmanned aerial drone system aircraft. The UAVs to be delivered under this new order are produced in a secure Kratos manufacturing facility, but due to customer-related and other considerations, that's as much as they're letting us tell you. SoftBank has entered into a definitive agreement to acquire Boston Dynamics, a robotics pioneer, from Alphabet Inc. According to SoftBank, the transaction aligns with SoftBank's investments in paradigm-shifting technologies and its vision of catalyzing the next wave of smart robotics. In late May, the Navajo County Sheriff's Office in Arizona used a UAS to search for a man who went missing in the woods of Arizona. It was the first time that the sheriff's deputies used a UAS during a search and rescue operation. The man was described as disoriented and dehydrated when found, but in good health. Sheriff Clark praised UAS technology by saying, quote, "The application of UAVs will revolutionize law enforcement as the two-way radio and computer did." FAA Administrator Michael Huerta has said that the agency has tackled the easy stuff in an interview with ANN CEO and Editor-in-Chief Jim Campbell on the sidelines of the 2017 UAS Symposium in Washington, D.C. The administrator said that now the agency has to take on some of the more challenging issues. You can access the entire interview at AUVSI's Airborne-Unmanned YouTube channel at airborne-unmanned.net. That was our Unmanned Minute. Now back to the rest of the news. The FAA estimates there could be 7 million UAS vehicles flying in the U.S. airspace by the year 2020. That's a staggering number, especially when it comes to safely managing all that air traffic. NASA has been charged by the FAA to develop methods of monitoring and managing UAS traffic. Partnering with public and private entities, NASA's UAS Traffic Management program just completed the second part of a 4-stage research project towards this goal. Quote, "We don't have a system in place that's going to keep UAS safely separated from each other," says Tom Prevet, a NASA Ames Research Center engineer and UTM program manager. "And especially if we're going beyond the line of sight of the operator, we don't have all the bits and pieces right now in the airspace system." The latest operation involved multiple drone traffic management at 6 FAA test sites across the nation. Each test site flew a series of UAS missions that were monitored in real time at NASA Ames Airspace Operations Lab. Once the team assesses the data gathered from the second phase, it will turn to the more complex challenges in the next 2 levels of the UTM program. Among the private partners collaborating on the project are Intel, Google, AirMap, and Amazon Prime. You know you've reached a high level of public interest when they start betting on your activities. The Drone Racing League announced a partnership with Betfair to offer race betting at the final race of the Allianz World Championship. The championship race is the UK's first professional drone race, featuring 6 of the world's greatest FPV pilots. The championship race will be the first DRL event open to spectators. Quote, "Drone racing is a sport made for betting," said DRL CEO and founder Nicholas Horbuski. It combines the raw thrill of short-track racing with the complexity and strategy of motorsports. The Allianz World Championship race will be the first time a live audience will see the thrill of professional drone racing up close, and the inclusion of betting will make it that much more exciting for fans. Betting on site will focus on 2 bets, including individual heat winners for each of the 7 heats, as well as the overall winner of the Allianz World Championship, and spectators will be able to bet on the racing with the Betfair Sportsbook app. The 2017 Drone Racing League season will broadcast in more than 75 countries around the world. DRL's 2016 season reached more than 75 million fans around the world. Well, that's our program for this week. In addition to this program, our daily Airborne-Limited episodes covering the entire aviation and aerospace world are streamed Monday through Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and tweet us. Get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net, and more information on the innovative world of all things unmanned at auvsi.org and airborne-unmanned.net. We'll see you next week.